And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Is sex in your travel itinerary? It's one of the travel goals for a community called the Passport Bros, meaning brothers. It's a traveling community of upwardly mobile black men. Some are accused of going around the world searching for a more traditional and submissive wife. But is it all about sex and just a girlfriend for hire and then return home to humiliate black women in America? That's the controversy that we're dealing with. One.
All right. So notice how he comes off with this original condescending tone. Is sex a part of your travel itinerary? Yes. Yes. It is part of the travel itinerary of every person in the world that likes sex. Sex is really part of almost every itinerary a man has ever. Each and every single thing we do, we like to have sex while doing it. Before, after, or during it. Yes, it is a part of the things that we like to do. But once again, he comes with this tone that you should feel guilty about it. And that's what this whole episode is all about. Make sure y'all hit that like button. That's what this whole episode is going to be about. Notice how he also said upwardly mobile black men who are going to these foreign countries just to come back home and what do you say here? Let me see. Something about black women. Let's see.
Humiliate black women.
Oh, humiliate black women. Now, how do you humiliate somebody? Because here's the thing. Collectively speaking, black women do not have any humility. They pretty much do what they want and don't really care what others say about them. Furthermore, you don't have to travel and come back to humiliate them. One thing has nothing to do with the other.
In America. That's the controversy that we're dealing with. One of its members, Auston Holleman, is apologizing for comments that he made about Brazilian women. Take a listen.
What I meant by when I said that Brazilian women are easy, and I shouldn't use the word easy. I know that now. I'm sorry. But what I'm saying is, for a man that's well mannered, well dressed, that has put in the effort to raise himself, he will have an easier time in Brazil as opposed to where I was from. That wasn't always the case.
Okay. That point right there is something that I want to see if he could find women to refute it. That's what I would like to see, because no matter what, that is a very, very, very true statement. Basically, what he's saying is your efforts, and fellas, you have to put in effort. Don't go there on some Homer Simpson stuff, expecting, dimes and nines and all the times, and don't do that. And not having to pay for it. Don't do that. However, what he's saying, and this is a very true thing, and this is really the crux of his work, is that your efforts here yield less results than your efforts there. And that's true in a lot of things. Certain things you're going to yield better results in certain places than others. If you have a study of agriculture, for example, you would do better in a rural part of the country than you would in an urban environment, and vice versa. If your skills are related to urban skills or domestic work or what have you, you would do better in a large city. So, yes, there are places where your efforts in any aspect of life gives you better results elsewhere. Let's continue.
Both American and women around the world are speaking out against the Passport Bros, arguing these guys are using their status to take advantage of women and even calling it a form of sex tourism and sex trafficking.
Why did he say it like that? And then he threw in trafficking, which has nothing to do with anything. That is like Mr. Fantastic level stretch. That's some Stretch Armstrong stuff right there, because like no one is Austin Holleman. I mean, he's not even promoting sex tourism, but sex trafficking is a whole different ball game that this doesn't have anything to do with at all, period. But he just threw that in there. But furthermore, notice how he said sex tourism. Sex tourism, like, is that supposed to make it a bad thing? Because it's not an illegal thing. Now, in many countries, and I think including Brazil, it's illegal to promote it, but it's not really illegal well, I know it's definitely not illegal in Brazil to sex tour. And for those of you who don't know, sex tour is when you go to a country with the intention of having sex with the local female population, typically paid sex with the local female population, which isn't illegal. So I mean, I get it that there is a certain amount of shame involved with doing that, as you know, as it applies to all people who pay for sex. But so what? Shame is something that's received. Like, I mean, it depends on how a person receives it. If a person wants to do that and he doesn't feel shame doing so, then that's his business. But you're trying to, make it shameful. That's why you say it like sex tourism. Listen again.
Arguing these guys are using their status to take advantage of women and even calling it a form of sex tourism.
Sex tourism
and sex trafficking. Let's talk about it. Communications specialist Priscilla Pack.
Yep. Communication specialist. Y'all hear that, guys? Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? She's a specialist. What is she? She's a communication specialist. Why are you here? What expertise do you have? I'm a communication specialist. How does one become a communication specialist? We talk on the phone a lot. Oh, excuse me? Yeah, I'm a communication specialist. Miss, and I'm assuming that this is a mainstream media channel in Texas and Houston. Miss, what qualifies you to be in the mainstream? I'm a Black woman in America. Let's talk about this for a second. This Black man here has made insinuations and allegations and inference about Passport Bros. This show is about Passport Bros. This whole interview and everything, the subject matter is Passport Bros. So what do you get? Who do you interview when talking about Passport Bros? Well, obviously, you interview the communication specialist. What's her qualifications? Well, her qualifications, and because this is Black America, is that she's a Black woman. And that's all you need to have a voice outside of the manosphere or outside of, YouTube or something like that. That's really all you need to have a voice in mainstream. It's all you need to have a voice on BET. It's all you need to have a voice in Fox 26. It's all you need to have a voice. I'm a Black woman. Now, they gave her the title of communication specialist. But really, this is just some random Black chick. And I want to point out something too. These women are below average looking. Both of them. One in the face, both in the waist, both below average looking. But it don't matter. These are Black American women with something to say, and we should listen to Black women. Well, let's listen. Communication specialists.
To take advantage of women and even calling it a form of sex tourism and sex trafficking. Let's talk about it. Communications specialist Priscilla Pack and Rochelle Gemini both are here on the Factor Uncensored.
Wow. So the other one has like a crappy title. One is a communication specialist. The other one just has a name. We have the communication specialist, which isn't really a thing. You know, it's kind of like a breathing specialist, because each and every single person communicates. Like, you can't be a specialist in something that's not special. Let's throw it out there. You cannot be a specialist in something that's not special. I'm special. You cannot be a specialist in something that's not special. And communication is something that all non-muted or like monks or priests, Shaolin or Catholics do. I'm special.
Of sex tourism and sex trafficking. Let's talk about it. Communications specialist Priscilla Pack and Rochelle Gemini both are here on the Factor Uncensored. We were supposed to do this last week. We're doing it this week. You have done a lot of research. When you think about and what you've heard about.
You have done a lot of research. You know who else done a lot of research? The men who actually been in both countries. You have done a lot of research on Passport Bros. You want to know who done a lot of research on Passport Bros? Passport Bros. But their opinion on Passport Bros don't really matter.
Passport Bros, your opinion on this so-called group.
Let me tell you, they weren't even.
This so-called group. Are you kidding me? This so-called group. Black people have a habit of putting the word so-called in front of stuff in order to diminish it. And we do that with everything, even though it's obvious it is that thing. Her dress is so-called yellow. No, it's yellow. Your suit is I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna go there, but yeah. We put that like, this so-called country. Like, no, it's a country. Like these so-called black people, they're black. They're not just called that. So yeah, that's a little bit of what he's doing. This so-called group. Like, well, if it's 2 or more people, it's a group. And since there's 2 or more Passport Bros, it's a group. It's not a so-called group. It's an actual group. By definition of the word group. You know who so calls it that? Webster.
And on this so-called group.
Let me tell you, they weren't even on my radar. You brought it up to me, and then I saw it. And
Wait. They weren't on your radar? I thought you did like so much research. I thought you did extensive research on them. So I'm assuming that this is the Michelle one, the one that's not a communication specialist, the one that has no titles or no credentials. And now we come to realize that she didn't even know what a Passport Bro was. And she's here to speak on it because she is a Black woman. Yeah, I didn't know what a Passport Bro was. It's kind of like if they were to bring, I don't know, a person in from somewhere who don't know what global warming is, but you want to talk about global warming. and then you just introduce them with no credentials, and then they come up and say, yeah, I didn't even know what global warming was. Then why are you here? See, you got to be able to ask these people that. And that's why people like myself exist. Like, because they keep throwing garbage like this out there. Why are you here? 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 You're here. Why are you?
I was just like, oh, that's cute. You know, guys go and get their passports. My son just got his passport last week. He 9. So that's cool. Passport brothers. That's what's up. Then I start doing the research and I'm like, wait a minute. Because I grew up, you know, with 2-parent household.
That means absolutely nothing. Fellas, listen to me and listen to me good. That means absolutely nothing at all whatsoever. You see, here's the thing. So many Black American women are trash. And as a result of it, both Black men and Black women are looking for ways to, and I know I interrupted a lot, I'm going to work on that, but both Black men and Black women are looking for ways to avoid either finding trash or appearing to be trash or hiding the fact that they are trash. This whole I grew up with 2 parents thing is something that they use to hide if they are trash or not. A lot of Black men have reached a conclusion of, oh, if she was raised by a single mother, she's likely to be trash. And maybe she is slightly more likely to be trash, but that doesn't mean that a person who is raised by 2-parent households are not trash. But that's why she leads with that, because that's really the only thing that she offers. She's not an attractive woman. And she has a 9-year-old, at least one. She has at least one kid, no ring. Now, it is possible that she's with the son's father, and she has been for the last 9 years, and they just are not married, but that's highly unlikely. It's very, 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 very likely that she's trash. Oh, wait. They finally gave her a title. She's a poet. She's a poet. Yeah, let's hear from the poet on this. All right. Very likely she's trash. Let's continue. I'm not going to make this long.
Parents still happily married. I grew up in love. Some people grew up in survival mode, and maybe they just in a whole nother dimension of trying to find love or trying to find easy situations and everything. But at the same time, it was like, why do you have to put down the thing that you don't like in front of everybody just to get the thing that you do want? I don't care. But
That being Black women in America, putting them down for women who may be of color in another country.
right.
Okay. They are miscommunicating with each other. Pretty bad. And I think that this is due to a lack of intelligence on the host side. Because what she was talking about was you don't have to put down Black women just because you like foreign women. And what he was responding with was that would be the women putting the men down and them going to other countries. He really just put it back on them. Like, wait a minute, if you don't have to put down something you don't like, then, he's talking about the women. You don't have to put down Black men. That's why they're leaving. But they didn't make that connection.
Right. That want to be a little more
also submissive to them.
Exactly.
But also paid prostitution in many cases.
And that's what they cover.
So what if it is? Fellas, we got to get over this shame. Okay, I interrupt too much. Let me just go back.
in a country.
Right. That want to be a little
Maybe
more
also submissive
exactly
to them.
Exactly.
But also paid prostitution in many
Facts.
cases.
And that's what they covering up. And you can tell that by the way that what's his name, Auston, was talking, because I saw the other videos of him going like, "Hey, you would have sexual intercourse with me tonight, right?" And she's saying, "Yes." They about to really get a lick on him. That's what's really about to happen. Because I also saw some of the women from overseas saying, "Yeah, we're just trying to get a lick." You know, they also came out saying, "We know these passport bros. They not new."
Mhm.
Black American women never say that. Black American women never, ever, ever talk about how they're going to get over on men or Black American men. They never do that. But okay, so you mentioned Austin's name. Name the women. Name the show. Name the Brazilian, the foreign woman who's talking like that. I'm curious. I'm curious. Do that, and I'll start, listing like the Brittany Renner, the Brittany with the PJ Washington chick. I'll start mentioning her. I'll start mentioning what's her name? The Corinne Steffens and stuff like that. Like our community is saturated with them. So she assumed that that woman is going to get a lick. Now, let me tell you what that means. And this goes back to the trash statement that I was talking about earlier. To a Black American woman, you can't want to sleep with a guy, a 23-year-old guy that works out and has money without it being a lick. That just can't happen. Two young people can't get together without there being some type of hustle involved. What if she just don't want to grow up to be you? But I'm getting ahead of myself.
So essentially, they're chumps themselves.
Yes.
They're simply John on the streets of America.
They might.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought we don't have to make fun of. Right? Isn't that what y'all were saying? You don't have to make fun of a group of people you don't like. Let's go back. Let's go back. I could have swore they were saying, "This is beautiful. What is that, velvet?" Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the man in the velvet suit was saying you don't have to make fun of them. You don't have to make fun of people.
But at the same time, it was like, why do you have to put down the thing that you don't like? And
Oh yeah, why do you have to put down the thing that you don't like? It's not like less than a minute later you're gonna put down passport bros. Let's see.
in front of everybody just to get the thing that you do want. I don't care. But
That being Black women in America, putting them down for women who may be of color in another country.
right, that want to be a little
Maybe
more
also submissive
exactly
to them.
Exactly.
But also paid prostitution in many
Facts.
cases.
And that's what they covering up. And you can tell that by the way that what's his name, Auston, was talking, because I saw the other videos of him going like, "Hey, you would have sexual intercourse with me tonight, right?" And she's saying, "Yes." They about to really get a lick on him. That's what's really about to happen. Because I also saw some of the women from overseas saying, "Yeah, we're just trying to get a lick." You know, they also came out saying, "We know these passport bros. They not new."
So essentially, they're chumps themselves.
Yes.
They're simply John on the streets of America.
They might be some that might be actually looking for love that can't find it maybe in America, but
And
you
you're right.
didn't let some rotten apples into y'all group, and y'all need to call the ones out that's not doing it correctly, because baby, we not just in America. You can claim wherever you want to be anytime. I don't care. Get a passport. Go find your love. But at the same time, don't put down us just because you feel like you've had some rejection. Deal with rejection. Heal.
Oh, deal with rejection. These guys are rejecting you. And this is how you deal with it. You come on these shows, you're a poet. That is a crap thing to be as an adult. It means you do nothing, is what it means, because poetry is something that, okay. You have the musicians, you have artists, you have actors, you have art of various types where the majority of people are trying to break into it with hopes of one day becoming very wealthy. If you are a painter or something like that, it's highly competitive at the bottom, but the top is very lucrative. When you have your own gallery and everybody knows your name and stuff like that. So, that's that. You have musicians who are in the same boat, very difficult to break into, but once you break in, there's a lot of money in it for you. And you have actors, and that's the same story there. Then you have poets. Poet is something that very, 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 very few people make it in. And even then, it's nothing. Like there's no money in it for you. So it's not a sustained occupation is what I'm getting at. But she's a Black woman with an opinion.
Go do your thing. We don't care.
And of course,
We don't care, but you are here. You are here. Like, if you truly didn't care when they called you and said, hey, you want to talk about Passport Bros? You went and Googled it and came on the show. But you could have just not, because you don't care. Just saying.
talking about all individuals who may travel out of the country. But Priscilla, for those who may be taking advantage of women out there and then trying to humiliate Black women in America, your thoughts about that?
I think it's really, really sad. Like, I look at them and I almost...
There's that grunting. There's that grunting, and her voice is a pre-Louise Jefferson. I think that's really, really sad. It's like a Louise Jefferson slash Marge Simpson's sister rasp to it. It just hasn't matured to full raspiness. And then, of course, there you have the sister grunt and that expression that they have on their face. That's the expression. And then they have that straight mouth look. I have a pink handkerchief.
I just want to pity them, but then I don't, because there's a level of ignorance that's deplorable. Go ahead and use that word today. I think.
Elaborate, please. I hope that after making a claim that there's a level of ignorance, she's going to explain what they're ignoring. What are they ignorant of? What bit of information they don't have? I hope she's going to do that.
That they are taking advantage, at least from what they project themselves to be as a group. They're taking advantage of gender gaps and economic opportunities that are not there in these other countries that are present for us in America.
It's not really taking advantage. It is marketing of any type. So, say, for example, the cotton industry of the old-timey South, the cotton industry, right? Cotton don't grow everywhere in the world. It most certainly don't grow in most of Europe. In fact, I can't think of anywhere in Europe it does grow. Cotton, silk, pepper, coffee, certain things. In fact, most agricultural things only grow in certain places. So people in the American South, they say, oh, cotton and sugar and tobacco don't grow there. I'll make cotton, sugar, tobacco here and send it there. Oh, you're taking advantage of the fact that it don't grow here. That is with anything ever, ever, everything that they are using is made somewhere else. Her microphone, the camera, the background lighting is made in some place, likely in Asia. And the minerals for it is mined somewhere, likely in Africa. And that's because we don't really have it here like that, either the labor or the minerals, or both. And it's not taking advantage. It is fair exchange. The problem with you is, and talking about you in the sense of being a homely, middle-aged woman, is that you have nothing to exchange. Well, you have the thing that every woman have, but it's significantly lower value than what they have to exchange. The younger, hotter, sexier, childless of the group. But hey, you're a communication specialist, right? It's not taking advantage. Fair exchange.
In the States, in Canada, in Scandinavia.
Also, notice how they're doing the whole take advantage of both ways. They see you as a lick. They're taking advantage of you. And then you're taking advantage of them. Which one is it? Because if both are being taken advantage of, then no one is being taken advantage of. Like, advantage means one over the other. One has the advantage over the other. If both are taking advantage, then neither is taking advantage. Both can't take advantage. So your friend, the poet, said that, oh, they're taking it. These women are taking advantage of the men. And now you're saying the men are taking advantage of the women. It's like, no, there is an absence of attractive, submissive women here in the States, and there's an abundance there. There's a deficit of gainfully employed men there, and there's an abundance here. That's commerce.
All over the world, and not even thinking back to the history of why are women and people made to be so independent in this country today. I think there's so many factors that they shove to the side for their preferences and trying to deem it a movement, which is so disappointing to hear. The civil rights movement was a movement.
Facts.
You know, anti-apartheid movement was a movement.
Come on.
So I'm thinking of passport bros like, this is a shame. You could really take advantage of your opportunity to educate.
How is it not a movement if the men are literally moving? But wordplay aside, if you want to call something a movement, and the examples that she gave, really it's a mechanism to make social and cultural change, like with apartheid, like with and legal change, and like with civil rights. They're pretty much doing the same thing. But you just want to belittle it because you don't want to compete. You see, when they started shipping cotton to Americas, they had cloth. Obviously, Europe had a form of cloth, and I think urine was somehow involved in it. They had a form of cloth before that, but they just couldn't compete with the good feel of cotton, the fabric of your life, the genuine cotton. Like they couldn't compete. So whoever was selling piss clothes before, they had trouble. That's you. Woman in the top right. Your vagina is piss clothes.
People on how to get a passport,
Wow.
to go overseas.
Educate people on how to get a passport. You bring your birth certificate and your identification card to the main post office of the area that you live in. I think it takes about 4 to 6 weeks and it costs less than $300. I think it's like $200 or 160 or something like that. You can either take a picture there or you can go to your local Kinko's and tell them that you want a passport photo. It's really not that hard. See, when they say instead you could be doing this, yeah, I could be. There's a lot of things that I could be doing, but I want to do this. Deal with it. You could be sucking my penis. But you'd rather be on Fox 26 saying this crap. You could have a paper bag over your head with a little hole in it, a my penis size hole in it for the sucking right now. But instead, you're doing crap like this. Just because a person could be doing the thing that you want them to do, that doesn't mean that they want to do it.
Travel the world and to learn and not just make it be about sex. And the fact that now you're putting this stigma on people and Black people in America, that is literally mushing us down. I hate that I said mushing, couldn't find a better word right there.
Right.
Wow, you're a communications specialist and you couldn't find a better word than mushing. You know, like subjugate, which actually means, to keep down. It's mushing us down.
But like bringing us down, right? They all know, they know. But what does that do for our perspective?
Them talk some of them, not all of them, talk so badly about Black women in America, saying you guys are too bossy, you're too much, you're not feminine enough for them.
Okay, now let's play Where's the Lie?
Them.
I think that sounds a lot to me like insecurities and the inability to seek what you want.
They are seeking what they want. That is why they leave. You have an inability to seek what you want. But you have a passport which gives you the ability to seek what you want. Huh? They're insecure because they can't seek what they want. Oh, God. Can't make this up. Cannot make this up.
Wow. With what you have, where you are. That's
okay. She said that. Where you are. Yes. Yes. So, and they can't find what they want where they are because what he said is true. Culturally unsubmissive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's what I really think about that. It almost disgusts me and is borderline gaslighting to sit here and treat American women, American Black women, and try to shut us down because we may be educated or have the ability to obtain certain finance.
Nobody's shooting you down for being educated. I can care less. I mean, you think that your education in communications, that's not a thing. That is not a thing. You think your education in communications means anything positive or negative to the men? Younger, hotter, sexier, childless. Do you provide any of these things? What do you bring to the table? I bring my communications degree. I'm going to just mush it down. Mush it real good. Yeah, okay. Can't make this up.
And social status that we're not in other countries.
And you attract
It's a shame.
what you put out there too.
It's a shame.
All right,
Like, don't
in
put
on
that
that.
on us.
You attract what you put out there. So if you put big penis out there, you attract it. What does that mean? What have you attracted? That was just a random thing to say. You reap what you sow. Wait, what? You know, it has to actually apply in some sensible way. I don't get that. Explain that one, because you attract what you put out there. So if you travel to another country, and we're talking about Brazil, so let's just say that. So if you travel to another country for a younger, hotter, sexier woman, do you somehow, for some strange reason, attract a woman who travels to the US for a younger, hotter, sexier man? What does that? This is what happens when you bring in poets and idiots just to say something. Look at the look on his face. Look at this suit. Look at that button. Okay.
Yeah, don't put that on us.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. Still ahead on the.
Okay. So make sure you hit that like button before you go. This is GameChanger 00100, and I'm gone. Peace.